The evening light washed softly over the veranda as I arranged the pale moon orchids I had spent years cultivating. Their gentle perfume drifted lazily through the air, calm, familiar, comforting. That serenity shattered the moment my husband, Rowan Hale, stepped out the front door dragging a sleek charcoal suitcase behind him. He still looked like the polished executive I married a decade ago. Crisp shirt, loosened tie, and that faint blend of cedar cologne and burnt tobacco that used to make me feel safe. Now, it only reminded me how distant he'd grown. "I'm heading out," he said flatly, barely sparing me a glance. "It's a crucial assignment. International partners wanted terrain analysis for the Eastport Resort project. I'll be gone 12 days. No calls, no messages. I need complete focus." Complete focus. That was always his excuse. I forced the warm, understanding smile I'd perfected over the years. "12 days is a lot, Rowan. Why so sudden?" He stepped back ever so slightly, an instinctive avoidance I wasn't supposed to notice. "It's confidential work, Liana. You get it. Just don't contact me unless the house is burning down." I nodded quietly, pretending not to feel the sting of his growing indifference. "All right. Travel safely." The front door slammed, echoing through our Northwood estate, leaving behind a silence that felt heavier than loneliness. 10 years ago, I was Liana Miles, a rising landscape designer building a name of my own, but Rowan wanted stability at home. "I need you to be my anchor," he'd said. So I let my career go still and poured all my dreams into this house, into him. 3 days into Rowan's confidential trip, the estate felt painfully hollow. I spent hours in my orchid room, the one refuge untouched by disappointment. I was misting the petals when my phone buzzed 3 times. Bank alerts. My breath slowed as I read them. $4,800, Sapphire and Elm, Northwood Hills. A luxury dining establishment. The very restaurant I'd once begged Rowan to take me to for our anniversary, only to be told it was a frivolous place for show-offs. But today, during his so-called out-of-town mission, his corporate card had swiped there. I called the bank to confirm. "Yes, Miss Miles," the representative said. "A payment was made 10 minutes ago, in Northwood, not Eastport." My grip loosened. The orchids around me, pure, white, flawless, suddenly felt deceitful. Rowan wasn't away on business. He wasn't working. He was here, dining extravagantly, but with whom? My pulse steadied, not in calmness, but in awakening. I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I did what a woman who has lost everything but refuses to lose herself does. I called my best friend, attorney Rhea Banner. What Rhea uncovers that night will not only expose Rowan's lies, but rip apart the last illusion I had about my marriage. Rhea arrived in my life the same way she handled every legal battle: fast, direct, and sharper than any blade. The moment she heard my trembling voice, her tone shifted from playful to lethal. "What happened, Liana? Tell me everything." I explained Rowan's so-called business trip, the sudden demand for silence, and now bank alerts from an upscale restaurant he once claimed only rich show horses visited. Rhea didn't gasp, didn't interrupt. She listened, the way only someone who'd seen the ugliest sides of people could. "Send me his card details," she said. "I'll check the restaurant's reservation list. And their cameras." Within an hour, she was on it, and I, left alone in my silent estate, walked through the orchid garden like a ghost. I kept telling myself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe a client, maybe a colleague, maybe anything but betrayal. But hope is a fragile thing. At 9:42 p.m., my phone vibrated with a message from Rhea. "Sit down before you open it." My heart punched my ribs. I sat, I opened. A 27-second video filled the screen. The angle was overhead, likely taken from a dining hall camera. The dim amber lights glowed over 2 people at a corner table. One was unmistakably Rowan, my husband, laughing softly, no tension in his shoulders, no exhaustion in his eyes. He wasn't alone. Across from him sat a young woman with glossy caramel hair and a burgundy satin dress. Even through the grainy footage, she radiated youth, effortless, glowing, carefree. Rowan leaned forward, sliding a forkful of seafood toward her plate like it was the most natural, intimate gesture in the world. Then she reached across the table and wiped a drop of sauce from the corner of his mouth. My breath shattered. Rowan didn't flinch or correct her. He smiled, soft, tender, and pressed a kiss to her fingertips, a gesture he hadn't given me in years. The video ended, but its weight stayed on my chest like a stone. I set the phone on the tile. My hands were numb. Rowan hadn't just lied. He hadn't just betrayed. He had erased me, replaced me without hesitation, without remorse. Rhea called immediately. "Did you see it?" "I saw enough," I whispered. "Her name is Mara Jennings. She's the new intern at Hale Corp. And trust me, the way they behaved, this isn't new." My throat tightened. My 10 years of sacrifice, my abandoned career, my devotion, reduced to a 27-second humiliation. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. But something inside me broke open. Tonight, Rowan's betrayal would turn me into something he never expected. A woman ready to burn down the walls he trapped her behind. I stared at the blank ceiling long after the video ended. Tears didn't come, only a cold, electrifying clarity. Betrayal doesn't always burn. Sometimes it freezes you solid. And in that ice, decisions become razor sharp. At 11:07 p.m., I texted Rhea, "Be my attorney, not my friend." She responded with 3 words, "Tell me what?" I walked to Rowan's mahogany desk, the one he always told me not to touch. The lamp's golden light reflected off the stacks of neatly arranged documents, tax records, contracts, account summaries. He thought I wouldn't dare look. He thought I wouldn't know where he hid spare keys. But betrayal teaches you new courage. "Freeze everything," I told Rhea over the phone. "Every shared account, every credit line he uses, the house deed, all of it." "You're sure?" she asked. "He will know instantly." "I want him to know." And with that, the first domino fell. Rhea contacted the bank's executive services, filing an emergency request under suspected financial misuse. I repeated the legal phrasing she told me: possible fraudulent activity and unauthorized asset disposition. Powerful words, words that made banks move faster than sympathy ever could. At midnight, I called our account manager, Mr. Langford, a man who'd always addressed me as Mrs. Hale in a tone dipped in syrup. "Block Rowan's platinum card, now." "But Miss Liana, he's traveling. Surely this must be—" "Block it. Immediately." My voice was calm, but laced with steel he couldn't ignore. Within minutes, the card was dead. The second step? Our joint savings and stocks. Frozen. Locked. Untouchable. I stood alone in the vast living room as silence swallowed the house. The orchids outside swayed gently, unaware of the storm about to hit their owner. It didn't take long. At 1:14 a.m., my phone lit up with Rowan's name. I didn't answer. At 1:16, another call. Then another. By 2 a.m., the missed call count reached 25. By 3:15, 39. By sunrise, 66. Each missed call was a scream I didn't need to hear to understand. His precious card had failed. His attempt to withdraw cash had been denied. His easy lifestyle had slammed into a wall he never expected. Me. When my phone chimed with a voicemail notification, I finally pressed play. Rowan's voice exploded through the speaker, dripping with rage, not remorse. "Liana, have you lost your mind? How dare you freeze my accounts? I'm stranded." Reverse it, now! Do you hear me? Now! Not a single word asking if I was okay, not a single word denying the affair, just rage for losing access to money that wasn't even his own alone. And that was the moment my fear died. Because when I finally call Rowan back, the truth I drop on him will shatter whatever power he thought he had left. I repeated Rowan's furious voicemail twice, not because I needed clarity, every venomous word was already carved into my memory, but because I wanted to hear exactly what wasn't there. Not a hint of regret, not a flicker of guilt, not one, "Liana, let me explain." Only fury at losing financial control. So I did something he never expected. I called him back. He answered before the first ring could finish, voice tight with desperation and barely veiled rage. "Liana, finally, what the hell is going on? Fix the accounts immediately." His panic was almost amusing. I stepped onto my veranda, letting the cool morning wind steady my voice. "Rowan," I said calmly, "I'm not fixing anything." Silence crackled on the line, sharp, dangerous. "What do you mean you're not fixing anything? Do you have any idea what trouble you've put me in? I'm in the middle of a critical client meeting." "Really? A client meeting in Northwood Hills?" His silence now wasn't confusion, it was fear. I continued. "How did your confidential terrain study teleport from Eastport to Sapphire and Elm? Because according to bank alerts, your card paid nearly $5,000 there." He inhaled sharply, scrambling. Who told you that? Are you spying on me?" "No, but your dinner companion was hard to miss. The brunette? In the burgundy dress? The intern? Mara Jennings?" His voice dropped from anger to raw panic. "Liana, this is not what you think. I can explain." "You know what? I don't need an explanation. I have evidence." Another long silence. I imagined his jaw tightening, his eyes darting around whatever hotel room or bed he was in. Then I delivered the final blow. "And oh, Rowan." "What?" The word came out strained. "The Northwood estate is going on the market. Papers are already being prepared. A buyer is ready." This time, he didn't breathe. He roared. "Have you lost your mind? You can't sell the house without my consent. That mansion is half mine." "No," I corrected. "It's half ours. And unlike you, I'm protecting my half. You should have thought about your assets before spending our money on your intern." He sputtered, rage dissolving into helplessness. "Liana, don't do this. Do you hear me? Do not do this to me." "To you?" I whispered. "Rowan, you already did this to us." Before he could unleash another threat or pathetic plea, I hung up. The quiet afterward felt like oxygen filling my lungs for the first time in years. But deep down, I knew Rowan wasn't done. His mother wasn't done. And this war had only begun. Because the next phone call I receive will expose a betrayal far deeper and far older than Rowan's affair. The moment I hung up on Rowan, I knew exactly who would call next, and she didn't disappoint. My phone lit up with the name Mother Hale, a name I once saved with affection. Now it felt like a warning label. I answered with practiced politeness. "Hello, Mother." Her dramatic sobbing burst through the speakers so loudly I had to pull the phone away. "Oh, Liana, what have you done to my poor son? Rowan is stranded. He's humiliated. You froze his accounts. How could you be so cruel?" Her tears always came fast. Too fast. Like a faucet she'd mastered over the years. I stayed silent. When that didn't work, she suddenly shut the crying off, switching to a sharp, icy tone. "Answer me, Liana. What madness possesses you?" "Cruel," I repeated softly.
Did he tell you he spent our money, almost $5,000, at Sapphire and Elm with another woman? Dead silence. For a moment, I thought the call dropped. But no, she simply hadn't prepared a script for that line. Then came the pivot. Oh, sweetie, men make mistakes. You can't destroy your marriage over a moment of weakness. If you file a scandal like this, people will laugh at our family. Be a patient wife. Close the door and handle this privately. Patient. Privately. For 10 years, those words kept me caged. No, I said firmly. I'm done being patient for a man who wasn't patient with me. Her sweetness evaporated instantly. Listen to me, Liana. If you don't thaw those accounts, I will come to that house myself, and you will regret humiliating my son. I hung up before she could finish the threat. For a long moment, I just sat on the cold floor feeling nothing. No sadness, no shock, just clarity. The Hale family didn't just excuse Rowan's betrayal. They enabled it, protected it, normalized it. They weren't blindsided by his affair. They were inconvenienced by my refusal to stay quiet. But the worst betrayal was still waiting. The next morning, as sunlight hit my orchids, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. The profile name, Mara J. The intern. My breath caught. Her message wasn't flirtatious or taunting. It was a single line. Miss Liana, please help me. Before I could process it, another message arrived, long, frantic, and trembling. Rowan turned violent when his card was declined. He locked me inside the hotel room. I escaped. I'm at the airport with nothing. He said he would ruin me if I talked. Please, I'm scared. Shock rippled through me. The mistress begging the wife for help. Before I could respond, she sent one more photo. A selfie. Her cheek bruised. A sliver of Rowan visible in the reflection behind her, red-faced and shouting. My stomach dropped. Rowan wasn't just unfaithful. He was dangerous. But nothing could have prepared me for what Mara revealed next. The secret Rowan had been hiding for 2 years, and the woman he'd been paying every month to protect it. Mara's bruised selfie lingered on my screen long after the notification stopped. For the first time since Rowan's lies began unraveling, I felt something unexpected. Not sympathy, but alarm. Rowan wasn't just spiraling. He had crossed a line I didn't know he was capable of. Before I could decide whether to block her or reply, Mara sent one last message. I'll tell you everything. I can't keep protecting him. Protecting him? The word shot straight through my chest. I typed back, "What do you mean?" Her response came almost instantly, as if the truth had been waiting to burst free. Rowan told me you were cold, distant, that you refused intimacy. He made me believe I was helping him through a loveless marriage. But last week, I saw something I wasn't meant to see. My stomach tightened. What did you see? A long pause. Then a voice message. Mara's voice trembled as she spoke. Rowan has been sending money to someone named Odella Jones every 15th of the month, $2,500. Like clockwork. He told me it was business-related support for a retired consultant. But he slipped once. He said something like, if her mother talks, everything falls apart. Mother. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it might bruise my ribs. I forwarded the name to Ria without hesitation. Within minutes, she called me back breathless and furious. Liana, sit down. I sat. Odella Jones is 80 years old, retired, and lives in Southwood District. But here's what matters. She's not a consultant. She's Mara's mother. The world tilted. I gripped the edge of the table as if the floor had vanished beneath me. For 2 years, Rowan has been financially supporting your husband's mistress's mother. 2 years, Liana. That's not infidelity. That's a second household. $2,500 times 24 months equals $60,000 of our marital money. My throat closed. I whispered, "He's been paying for her family?" "Supporting them," Rhea confirmed, "consistently, secretly. That's long-term fraud disguised as personal expenses. And that means, legally, we have grounds far beyond divorce." I stared out at my orchid garden. 10 years of nurturing beauty. 10 years believing I was tending to a shared life. Meanwhile, Rowan had been cultivating someone else's future behind my back with my sacrifices. Mara sent another message. "I'm sorry, I didn't know he was lying to both of us. He told me his company restricted his salary. He said he barely had enough to support you. But when I saw the transfers to my mom, I realized he was using you and me." For a moment, I felt nothing at all, just a hollow, echoing space where my heart used to be. Then something colder settled in, resolute. Rowan Hale was not just a cheating husband. He was a manipulator, a financial predator, and now a danger. But the true explosion came when we discovered what Rowan had done with our house and the $600,000 debt he had secretly chained to my name.
The morning after Rhea uncovered the 2-year transfers, I felt like every shadow in the house was staring at me, watching, waiting for the next blow. And it came faster than I expected. Rhea called again, her voice tight. "Liana, you need to come to my office. Now." I drove there in silence, gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers ached. When I entered her office, she didn't greet me. She didn't offer coffee. She didn't even sit. She pointed to her computer screen. "Look." It was the digital deed of the Northwood estate. My home, my garden, my 10 years of devotion. And next to the property number, in stark black letters, lien holder, First Interstate Lending, amount $612,000. A mortgage. My chest tightened painfully. No, that's not possible. I never signed a mortgage. Rowan told me everything was fully paid after my parents' contribution. Rhea's jaw flexed. "Scroll down." I scrolled, and there it was. My signature. Clean, perfect, familiar. Only, I never signed this document. The room spun. I felt cold all over. I didn't sign this. I know my own handwriting, but I didn't sign this. "Rhea, what is this?" She took a deep breath. "There are 2 possibilities. Either Rowan forged your signature, or..." She paused. "Or he tricked you into signing something else months ago, something he swapped into the mortgage packet." My mind scrambled backward. 6 months ago. Yes, the night Rowan came home flushed with excitement about a strategic investment. He had handed me a thick folder and said, "Just sign here, sweetheart. The company needs this form urgently. It's internal paperwork." I didn't read it. I trusted him. I signed. My knees nearly gave out. Rhea studied me. "Liana, listen. This wasn't a simple betrayal. This is criminal fraud. If you hadn't frozen the accounts, he would have taken that money and disappeared with Mara. You would have been left responsible for a $612,000 debt and a house ready for foreclosure." My breath shattered in my chest. All this time, Rowan wasn't planning a fling. He was planning an escape. He wasn't just cheating. He was financing a new life with the same skill and secrecy of a thief. My phone buzzed in my hand. A new message. From an unknown number. Rhea peered over my shoulder as I opened it. It was a bank alert. Attempted international transfer. $47,500. Declined. Then another message immediately after. "He's trying again. He's getting desperate." Rhea's face hardened. "He's running, Liana, and he's dangerous now. We need to file charges before he disappears for good." I looked out the window, at the city below. Alive, loud, unaware that my world had been shattered twice in 1 week. I wasn't crying. Not anymore. Some tragedies burn you hollow, but some awaken a fire you didn't know you carried. Because the moment we filed the criminal report, Rowan made one last move. A move so reckless and explosive that it put every single one of us in danger. Filing the criminal report against Rowan Hale should have brought relief, or at least a sense of control. Instead, the air around me thickened with a new kind of danger. Sharp, unpredictable, and alive. A man like Rowan didn't collapse quietly. He exploded. Rhea and I submitted everything. Forged mortgage documents, evidence of hidden transfers, video of the affair, messages from Mara, attempts at international wiring. The detective reviewing our files simply nodded once and said, "We'll issue a travel alert. If he tries to leave the country again, we'll know." But Rowan wasn't trying to leave anymore. He was trying to fight. That evening, as I sat alone in my orchid garden one last time before the weekend sale, a black SUV pulled slowly into my driveway, headlights sweeping across the stone walkway like drifting eyes. My phone buzzed. "Rhea, do not open the door. Rowan knows about the report." Before I could reply, pounding slammed against the front door. Not knocking, pounding, wild, desperate, unhinged. "Liana!" Rowan's voice roared from outside. "Open this damn door, right now!" A cold fear slid down my spine. He wasn't supposed to be back in the country yet. He wasn't supposed to have money for a flight. So how did he get here? I stepped back from the entryway as his fist collided with the wood again and again. "I know what you did," he shouted. "You think you can ruin me? Destroy everything? Open the door!" His rage shook the frame. My trembling fingers texted Rhea. "He's here. He's furious. Send help." Her response came instantly. "Police are on the way. Stay hidden. Do not engage." But Rowan wasn't waiting. The pounding stopped. Silence swallowed the house whole. Then, crash! The unmistakable shatter of glass exploding somewhere near the back veranda. He had found another entrance. I fled toward the hallway, heart hammering so hard it hurt. My legs felt weightless as I ran into the library and locked the door behind me. Footsteps entered the house. Slow, heavy. Each one echoing off the marble floor like a countdown. "Liana," he called, his voice lower now, almost mocking. "Where's my sweet wife hiding?" My skin crawled. The handle of the library door rattled violently. "You think you can steal my house, freeze my accounts, turn my mother against me?" He punched the door. Wood splintered. "You ruined everything. Everything!" Sirens wailed faintly in the distance, but getting closer. I pressed my back against the bookshelf, praying the lock would hold until the officers reached the property. Rowan's voice dropped to a chilling whisper on the other side of the door. "You should have stayed quiet. You should have played the part. Now we're both going down." My breath caught. And then the front door burst open, police flooded the hallway. Rowan ran, and everything dissolved into chaos. When the officers finally found me, shaking behind the library desk, the only thought echoing in my mind was, this wasn't the end. Rowan wasn't done, and he still had secrets left to detonate. Because the biggest twist wasn't Rowan's affair, the stolen money, or even the forged mortgage. It was the person who helped him do it.